At 3:17 a.m., the runway lights looked like a necklace spilled across the dark. Cold air, hot engines, a private terminal so quiet you could hear the leather seats breathe. And then he arrived, not with an entourage, not with cameras, just one driver, one suitcase, and a face that didn't match the headline the world was about to scream. He was 42. He looked older, not because of age, because of minutes. The pilot stood at attention, like this was a military base. The jet wasn't parked like a plane. It was staged. A sleek black body, wings sharp as if they were designed to cut the sky. Inside, soft gold lighting, a sleeping suite, a shower with steam still clinging to the glass, a screen that could turn night into day with one swipe. $400 million of silence. The driver handed him the suitcase and murmured, "We're early." He didn't nod. He didn't smile. He stared at the jet like someone staring at a confession they never wanted to read. And that's when I noticed his hand. It trembled, not from fear, from restraint, like he was holding back an entire ocean. He climbed the stairs slowly, as if each step cost him something invisible. The door sealed with a quiet hiss, and the world outside became a muted film. Security lights, distant workers, the soft blur of ordinary lives still asleep. Inside, the jet smelled like new money and old exhaustion. He didn't look around like a kid in a toy store. He walked straight to the desk, opened his laptop, and tapped one key. A timer appeared on the screen. 0100, 1 hour. That was the whole point. People would say he bought this jet to show off. They were wrong. He bought it to escape something. The co-pilot's voice came through the cabin speakers. Calm, professional, almost gentle. "Mr. Vale, we'll be airborne in 6 minutes." Vale didn't answer. He stared at the timer like it was a detonator. 6 minutes later, the engines roared and the jet rolled forward. The runway rushed beneath them. The city lights fell away, gravity loosened its grip, and in the moment the wheels left the ground, Vale finally exhaled. Not relief, not happiness, something darker, something like survival. His assistant's message popped up. "The board is waiting. They're nervous." Vale typed back, "They should be." Then, he closed the laptop and looked out at the clouds, the moon slicing through them like a silver knife. You're probably wondering, who spends $400 million to save 1 hour? The answer is, someone who already knows what an hour can destroy, because Vale didn't grow up with jets, he grew up with clocks. A cheap one above a kitchen sink in a small house where the air smelled like fried oil and unpaid bills. A clock that always seemed too loud when the pantry was empty. His mother used to say, "Time is the only thing they can't take from us." His father used to say, "That's because we don't have anything else." And Vale learned early that time wasn't free. Time was a debt. He was 16 when he got his first job, stocking shelves at night, school in the morning, sleep whenever life forgot to hit him. At 19, he watched his mother cough blood into a napkin and fold it like a secret. At 20, he sat in a hospital hallway counting seconds while a doctor explained what chemo would cost. Vale didn't cry. He asked, "How much time does it buy?" The doctor blinked like he didn't understand the question. But Vale understood life through transactions. Money for food, money for medicine, money for another month where the clock kept ticking. He worked like a man sprinting from a fire, built his first company in a room so small the ceiling fan could touch his dreams, slept next to his laptop, ate noodles, sold the company, built another, lost friends, lost sleep. And every time someone asked why he never stopped, he would answer with a smile that was never warm. "Because I'm late." Late for what? Late for something he couldn't name. Until the day the phone rang. A man from the hospital. A voice as calm as rain. A sentence that didn't care about his net worth. "I'm sorry, Mr. Vale, we did everything we could." Vale's mother was gone, and for the first time in his life, he realized something that made his stomach turn cold. He could buy anything, except the hour he needed most. That hour when he should have been there, when he should have held her hand, he wasn't there. Because he was in a meeting, because a flight was delayed, because time didn't care who he was. That was the day the richest man in the room became the poorest man in his own heart, and that's why the jet wasn't a flex. It was a scar. Back in the present, the jet cut across the sky like a bullet. Vale's timer kept running. Ryu 41 or Quetzalv. He rubbed his forehead, and for a moment his mask cracked. He whispered so quietly it felt like it was meant for the clouds. "Never again." Then a second message appeared on his phone, not from the assistant, not from the board, From an unknown number, one line. "I know what you did to save that hour." Vale froze. His eyes didn't widen, they sharpened. He stared at the message as if it had just opened a door to a room he'd buried years ago. The timer kept ticking. 0:39 to 58. He typed back 2 words. "Who are you?" The reply came instantly. "Someone you couldn't buy." And then another. "Land the jet, or everyone learns the truth." Vale's fingers hovered above the screen. $400 million in the sky. A board meeting waiting. A reputation built like a cathedral. And one unknown voice pulling at the foundation. Vale looked toward the cockpit, then toward the timer, then out at the clouds. Beautiful, endless, uncaring. And for the first time since takeoff, he looked scared. The cabin lights dimmed. Adrian Vale didn't move. His phone sat in his palm like a live ember. A message flashed, "Touchdown, 10 minutes, alone." Years ago, Vale made a deal. "Time," an old man whispered, "is the only empire worth owning." He signed a contract to trade an hour from another's life for his own rise. He reached his dying mother on time. He heard her last words. But that hour wasn't clean. It was borrowed. And every borrowed hour must be repaid with interest. Now, the rise is over. The wheels hit the runway of a dark airfield. Stole. That's the word they used, not bought. Interest is finally due. A figure waits in the darkness. "You thought you were buying an hour," they whisper, "but you were selling your future." A live feed shows a hospital door. A nameplate. Vale, Eleanor. Vale's blood turns to ice. "She's gone," he whispers. The figure leans in. "We didn't take your hour from a stranger. We took it from you." Vale couldn't breathe. The air felt thin, like the jet had stolen the world's oxygen. He stared at the hospital feed, trying to force reality to behave. The clock ticked like a witness. He remembered counting seconds, believing his life was a series of deals he could outsmart. He was wrong. "It's me," the figure whispered. A face from a timeline he'd tried to rewrite. "You signed a contract with people who trade outcomes. They took an hour from your future and gave it to your past." He saw her, his mother, alive in the timeline where he didn't buy that hour, but she was alone. Her last words there, "Where is my son?" "You didn't save her," the figure hissed. "You saved yourself. You got your closure while she watched you disappear. Time isn't something you pay for, Vale. It's something you confess for." The timer hits 0. The debt comes due. This time, you're the one who doesn't arrive. Reliving the hour from the other side. Vale sprinted back up the stairs of the jet like the steps were on fire. The cabin felt smaller now, like luxury had shrunk into a cage. The lighting looked sick. The leather smelled like guilt. His laptop timer blinked 0:04:11, 4 minutes left. 4 minutes until the universe took back what he stole. Vale's hands flew across the keyboard. He was trying to out-type fate. He called his assistant, no answer. Then the hospital. His fingers were shaking. A receptionist picked up. "Good morning, Valley Medical. This is Adrian Vale, Eleanor Vale. What's her status?" A pause, paper shuffling, keys clicking. "I'm sorry," the receptionist said. "We don't have a patient by that name." Vale froze. Vale stared at the timer. 0:03:27. "Take off now!" he roared. The engines screamed. The cabin trembled. Vale was trying to outrun an invisible countdown. The sky was black. Outside, the other him stood on the tarmac watching, calm as a judge. Then a text. One message, "Confess." "To who?" Vale asked. The reply came, "To yourself." Irzo R202. Vale's mind flooded with images. The day he signed the deal, the woman in black. "An hour is always borrowed," she had said. He thought he was the borrower. What if he was the collateral? The sky didn't feel like freedom, it felt like a courtroom. He opened the encrypted file. The contract. 00118. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone." A video call request? No name, just a black screen. Vale hesitated, then answered. A woman's face appeared. "Mr. Vale," she said softly. "Still running? What do you want?" "You already know. The hour." "I paid." "No, you postponed. An hour taken must be returned." The screen showed a white room, a table, and sitting there was his mother, alive. Eleanor was coughing. "This is the timeline you stole from. Choose who suffers the loss. If you do nothing, your mother dies without you. Your closure is erased. And if I act, then you move the loss. to the one who bought it. Vale understood. It meant him. The hour was never about saving time. It was about choosing pain. He had to choose. Confess, out loud, admit what you did, and accept the hour coming back through you. Vale whispered, I stole an hour because I was afraid to be powerless. Year 003. It was selfish, I accept the hour. 0. The cabin lights flickered. Silence. A wrenching sensation. The jet vanished. He was standing in a hospital hallway, ticking. He had younger hands, a frantic heart. The clock was wrong. It was ahead. He ran. He reached the door. Eleanor Vale, a doctor, stepped out. I'm sorry, Vale buckled. A message, paid in full. Billionaires don't buy time. They borrow it, and the universe collects.